Namaste. Today I'm going to share with you a yin yoga practice. Come to a comfortable seat, and it's nice to wear some comfy clothes. This practice will be completely seated. You might have the option to stand into a forward fold, but otherwise just relax. I like to place a blanket over my mat just for some added support. And you will need a few props for this practice. If you just have a pillow at home, that's also fine. Grab a few pillows and even some towels. I have an extra blanket here, and if you can buy a bolster and have a strap, that's great. A scarf will do in a pinch to substitute a strap if we need it. And then some yoga blocks. I love these cork blocks because they're more substantial than a foam block. So if you can, grab a few props. That would really support you in this restorative yin yoga practice. This practice is done at the level of the connective tissue. So through a deep relaxation, we disengage the muscles and we go beyond the muscle into the fascia, the connective tissue. Then we can really remove the scar tissue that's accumulated, that semi-permanent damage that's accumulated through habitual movements such as pressing the pedal on your gas, carrying your backpack or your child, a serving tray, or any other habit that creates imbalance in the body. That scar tissue starts to form there. So we can remove that scar tissue through these long, deep holds. It is only when we bypass the muscle engagement and get into these longer, deep holds can we really see the flexibility and the mobility shift and change. So we're really seeking just to come into a 60 to 80% engagement on the muscular level, and that's why we use these props just to support ourselves. The deeper we can restore and rest and digest, the more our body will allow itself to unfold. And coming into that deep state of relaxation supports the nervous system so much. It gives us time to process, which is so important. And it takes us into that lucid state that is more akin to meditation. When we can come into these longer, deep holds, it's comparable to putting braces on the teeth. So Paul Grilly has a video on this. I'm using this timer so we'll time our postures as we'll go deeper in. So Paul Grilly has a video on this where he compares yin to putting braces on the teeth. So through those long, deep holds, then you can see a real structural change happening. So too do we activate that practice in our yin yoga. It's a passive engagement. So we are going to begin with a forward fold. So join me in a seated posture here. The legs are extended long. And feel free to grab some props. So you might like a block and a bolster. And you can use your bolster the long way here and come and fold over, finding your position. Just that first stretch and level of engagement. And then as we continue into this long, deep hold, then you can maybe even move the block or find a deeper posture there as the body releases. So let's come into that first forward fold. Supporting yourself. Coming into this posture, it's forward fold. Surrendering in, placing the hands on the earth, we will be here for 5 minutes. Taking your time, settling in to this forward fold. No need to force or even go very far into this posture. And if you're extremely flexible, you should back off even more. If you're extremely flexible, you may not need this yin practice. You may need some more yang strengthening practices. Allowing your head to be supported by your props. And the breath will naturally turn on here. Luxuriating in the pose. Just surrender and release. Looking inward. Taking time to be with the body. Noticing, becoming aware of any small changes or shifts in the body, any opening, and seeing if you can just release more tension. And then allowing the mind just to be still, just to be lucid and relaxed. We can approach our yin practice in two ways. One is to allow the mind just to wander and daydream. So in that dream state, we're processing. And that's so essential to process. So letting the mind just wander and daydream is so healthy and vital. So if your mind drifts and wanders, that's totally wonderful. Just allowing the mind to process here in this posture, in a lucid state. Another way to practice yin is as a mindfulness practice. So as the mind wanders, there comes a point when we realize we've drifted off, lost in our thoughts. And then we celebrate that moment when we realize we're no longer present, and we come back to the present moment so joyfully and with infinite patience. And in this way, we're training ourselves to be present in the moment. In this yin practice, I invite you to allow the mind to wander, just to allow that daydreaming to happen. And take one last breath and release. Slowly releasing. And we're just going to roll down onto our backs, taking a moment to see the reverb. So just noticing if there's any popping or clicking, that vata or air being removed from the joints, or if there's any crunchies, tension in the low back. Coming into our next posture, our next yin pose, we're going to take our block and we're going to place it under the sacrum, giving some compression to the low back. So placing your block flat on the ground and then placing the sacrum onto the block as such. Just relaxing and feeling the opening in the adductors in the front of the hips here and the pelvic bowl. So seeing how you can stabilize the pelvis with this yin pose. And we're just going to hold this. If you want more intensity, you could bring your feet together, experiment with that. And then if you want to just relax a bit more, maybe opening the legs apart might be supportive. And surrendering here, closing down the eyes, continuing to rest in this posture. We're going to be here for 5 minutes. If you're just new to yin, you could begin just with 3 minutes. And feel free to come out at any time. So this block here, the compression, is helping remove that scar tissue through this deep restorative hold. Through these deep, long holds, we signal to the body youthfulness. So hyaluronic acid starts being released into the body, that youthful acid. Feeling any sensations and noticing the difference between any sharp shooting pains or dense compression, the sensations of compression. As we reshape the body, yin is passed down through a martial arts lineage. And as such, it's the counter practice to an active practice. So yin unto itself is not sufficient. We also want to have that active practice that's popularized in Ashtanga and Vinyasa, where you may find that activity through your exercise or outdoor sports. And then yin can be a beautiful counterbalance. Holding this posture, allowing the mind just to drift and daydream, to process. Sleep is so crucial to our health. Scientists have found a correlation between insomnia and Alzheimer's. So that restorative, lucid processing that we can experience in yin, guiding us into a deeper sleep, is so important. In that deep sleep state, that is when toxins are removed from our brain and proteins are built in the brain. So if we're unable to access that deep sleep state every single night, then we see consequences at the level of the brain health and our yin practice can really support us, guiding us into sleep. So if you're watching this on your screen at home, I invite you just to turn down the light on your computer. Once you release from this posture, and then gently coming out, removing the block, and noticing the reverb. Just releasing, letting go. Noticing the after effect. Really taking your time, just let the body rebound. So after this long, deep hold, feel into the rebound. What's happening in the pelvic bowl now? What's happening with that connective tissue? Let's bring the bottoms of our feet to the ground. And then let's roll onto our side. And then pressing ourselves up. I apologize for that alarm sound. Thought I turned that off. Coming back. We're going to try out another forward fold. And you can take this at the wall, which can be very supportive. So we're really opening the hips and the pelvis here. And of course, this again is not about the depth or what it looks like externally. So we're going to take a wide-legged fold here and just come to about like 60-70% of your capacity, as you like. And you can take your blanket as well and just bring the hips forward here. Lifting up and out of the pelvic bowl, just allowing for the slight pelvic tilt forward. And then we're just going to come down. And less resting your forehead on your blocks. We're going to be here for 5 minutes. So just resting your head down, releasing, surrendering into this pose. Five minutes here. Backing off and out of the posture as needed. Surrendering, letting go. Allow the earth to support you and really let your blocks and your props support you here. You are supported. Yin, this restorative treatment or practice, is so healing for the mind and for the body. It's especially wonderful in the wintertime, when our bodies tend to contract and we really need to open and heal. If you, like me, aspire for more mobility, more flexibility and range of motion, then this is an excellent practice for you. Sleep is related to our yin practice as we move towards yoga nidra, yogic sleep, in that lucid state of awareness. One night of missed sleep severely impacts the gut flora in our microbiome, so our digestive health. So that deep sleep is so crucial to our gut health, our digestion, which is the seat of our health in Ayurveda. And in yoga, we know that the mind is the mirror to the gut. So when we have healthy gut health, then also our mental health is restored. And then also, as well, serotonin, a large degree of our serotonin is produced in the belly, in the gut. So that neurotransmitter that brings us happiness, supported through our lucid yin practice as it guides us into a better sleep. So yin is a wonderful practice for the evenings before you're getting ready for bed. So next time when you're in your yin practice, just considering how you can create more ambiance, so closing off those lights, unnecessary blue light spectrum. And just darkening the room. Allowing this yin practice to take you towards rest and releasing. Beautiful. And then just supporting. You can support your legs to come in Noticing the reverb here. Excellent. Wonderful. Let's access our glutes. Yin is not an alignment-based practice like Ashtanga. Rather, we look at skeletal variation. So Paul Greeley and his team, they have been doing cadaver analysis and have noted just the immensity of skeletal variation. So with that in mind, as we move into this glutes work, I'm going to give you some options so you can customize the practice for you, because we're taking note of that skeletal variation. So we can access the glutes on our backs, especially if you're feeling tired, through threading the needle. So I've come onto my back, and then I'm going to bend my right knee and my left, and then just take my hands, thread the needle through this figure 4, and clasp. If you want, you can access the clasp over the shin, or for a more gentle posture, here. So with this, threading the needle to access the glutes on the back, there'll be 2 sides, so I will notify you when 2.5 minutes is up. Another way to access the glute, especially if you feel you have some more energy to expel, is through a pigeon. So you can access this here, with the leg extended back, and then we're coming forward. So just feeling the activation in the glute, either through a pigeon or threading the needle. Coming onto your back or into your pigeon, just closing down the eyes. Letting go. Surrendering. Just feeling that first sensation or activation in the glute. And just noticing how the breath will naturally start engaging. And as this is a lucid practice, just resting here. Taking time with yourself, with your precious body, to heal. We're healing the body with the body. So amazing. Such an empowering practice. We can be our own healers. And then switching sides, so releasing, noticing the reverb there. And then as you're ready, coming into your second side, either in your pigeon or threading the needle. Just letting the glute open and release, allowing that scar tissue to start coming undone in a long, deep hold. Yin might be challenging for you, depending on your constitution and your lifestyle or your body type. If you're not used to slowing down, then this is a great practice for you. It's challenging as you begin this practice, but it's definitely worth it. So many benefits. Just a few more breaths here. And taking one last breath and then releasing, coming out of the posture slowly. And taking a moment to observe the rebound. Noticing the effects. Beautiful. And coming up, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite restorative postures, and it's not a traditional yin posture, and it requires blocks. So I will give you an alternative if you don't have blocks. So here I'm coming down with my first block flat on the earth, and it is my rib cage that's really being supported at the level of my thoracic spine. And then I'm bringing my second block here with long on the ground, so at the third highest setting rather, and I'm kind of having this first edge in the occipital, so where the neck meets the skull there, and I'm allowing my chest to open. So this is a restorative heart opening, and it's not a traditional yin posture, but it's a lovely restorative pose, and I could begin every yoga practice with this. I just feel so supported here. And then we can go into opening here, opening, bringing the feet together and the knees apart. And it's great to support. I have dancer's hip, so I just like to really give my left hip, my poor left hip, extra support there, just a little bit, just so it doesn't need to rub up against that block there. So forever I was trying to force my dancer's hip to open and release, and that didn't work. I'm still looking for that solution to that pop and that limitation there. And in the meantime, my restorative approach has been so healing to accept and to release the need for my hip to be anywhere other than as it is. So just a radical acceptance of the body as it is can be so healing. And in that freedom and that acceptance, you find relief, release, and then change is possible. So the alternative to this, if you don't have blocks, is just to lay on the back and then to bring the feet together and open the knees. In this Supta Baddha Konasana. This reclined, supported posture. We're just going to stay here for another minute or two. Letting the hips open and the shoulders drape down, melting. Sometimes I like to roll my neck even here, get the edge of the block into the occipital, really just to work that crucial trigger point, especially if there's any tension or the head or the neck or the shoulders. Just allowing yourself to be supported by the blocks or the earth. This is a subtle practice. And then just straightening the legs for a moment, the last few moments in this posture. Releasing, coming out, removing the blocks. Just noticing the reverb again, the rebound, taking a moment to integrate. When you're ready, rolling over to one side and coming up, we'll enjoy another heart opening, and we will practice Sphinx pose. So here, coming on our bellies and placing your forearms on the ground in this Sphinx pose. This is a wonderful yin posture or restorative posture that helps to balance hormones, as does the last posture we were engaged with. so I've heard. And then if you really want here to surrender down more, you can place a block under your head to support you. If you have a lot of tension in your shoulders, this might be uncomfortable, or you might need a prop. Or you could choose, rather than staying lifted, you could even just drop the head down. So we're noticing this heart opening Sphinx posture, how it's working at the level of the low back, and then opening the heart, rolling the shoulders back even, and just letting ourselves be supported here for a few minutes. Noticing how our habits and lifestyle have shaped our bodies, and that those habits show up in interesting patterns in the body, whereas often there will be a zigzagging tension holding pattern, whereas, for example, if we're right-handed, then tension can show up even in the left hip, for example. Or we tend to rest when we're standing in a waiting for the bus pose on the non-dominant leg. And also, so importantly, how do you sleep? What are the shapes that you're holding for long periods as you sleep? Are you curled up in a fetal position because the adductors are really tight? Are you compressing and smushing your arms, sleeping on your side? Just noticing how those long holds from sleep shape and inform the body. If you're having neck issues, how is your pillow affecting your sleep? Can you ditch your pillow? And can you get an orthopedic pillow if you can't ditch your pillow? Another few breaths here. And taking one last deep breath. And then releasing down, placing one cheek on the earth. Noticing the rebound. Any clicking and popping. We're going to open the pectoral muscle now. If you do Ashtanga or Vinyasa, there's so much compression in the shoulders. Or if you train really hard with weights, then you really need to release your pectoral muscles. So we're going to just reach your right arm out wide. And then place your left hand on the earth with your elbow bent. And then just roll over. Sometimes I'm tight here and I need a prop. So if you need to find a block, wiggle somehow a block over, place it there strategically. And you can place your foot on a block or a pillow if you're feeling really tight. There. Just be here for 2 minutes. If you want more, you can cactus your arm and that will really get into the bicep. However, it's nice to stretch that inner shoulder, that underarm area, and that pectoral muscle. In this beautiful posture. Probably not a traditional yin pose, but a beautiful restorative. That downtime, that time of rest, is so important for balance in our lives. If we're just pushing ourselves and forcing and draining with adrenal fatigue and excessive physicality, then we're not balanced. We're not really nurturing and restoring our bodies. We want to cultivate a deep pool of yin. And that deep pool of yin will nourish us and allow us to go further and deeper into our power. So just noticing in these last few breaths here where you might be pushing or forcing things in your life, and then gently release. And then coming into the second side. For a few minutes. So yin is clearly referencing Taoism, China. So yin and yang. So we have false yin and false yang. So false yang looks like manas, we say in yoga, but it would look like someone just pumping iron forcefully, drinking Red Bull, doing cocaine, and just getting their power from these superficial, solar, powerful sources. Whereas someone with a true yang would have that deep samurai, that deep ninja warrior power coming from their relationship with nature and their profound health and that deep pool of yin. So in that yang, there's that little dot inside, represents the fundamental juxtaposition of life, but also that within the yang there is the yin. And then that false yin looks like the bimbo stereotype, or the orange-skinned, bleached, blonde, vapid woman on the back of a motorcycle stereotype, if I'm going to illustrate this for you in a crude way. So that false yin. So that true depth of yin is that beautiful receptivity, that ability to receive and to rest and restore. And then within that yin you have that juxtaposition, fundamental paradox of life, that yang dot inside of that yin portion, of that beautiful mandala, the Wu Wei. It's the middle point, that balance between the two. So taking your last breath and releasing here. Beautiful. Wonderful. And then you can just come onto your back as we take our final shavasana, our resting pose. The corpse pose where we surrender and just release, integrate, marinate in, and let that practice infuse into our being. In stillness, the arms are just slightly away from the body. And I will guide you now through a short yoga nidra, yogic sleep meditation. Recite to yourself, I will not fall asleep during yoga nidra. 3 times. I will not fall asleep during yoga nidra. I will not fall asleep during yoga nidra. I invite you to plant a seed of desire in your heart. So that sankalpa, what is it that you desire most? Not at the level of external validation, but your authentic, integrated, free, expanded soul's essence. What does that crave and desire? And then just reflect on that for a moment in a word or some visual, and plant that seed in your heart. That sankalpa, stay here and rest as I guide you through yoga nidra. Bring your awareness to your right big toe, your second toe, your third toe, your fourth toe, and your fifth toe. Bring your awareness to the bottom of the right foot, the top of the right foot, the right ankle, the right calf and shin, the right knee. Bring your awareness to the hamstring and the quadricep, the inner thigh, the outer thigh, and the right hip. Relax the entire right leg, feeling a soothing energy wash over your right leg. Heavy, melting into the floor. Relax your left big toe, your second toe, your third toe, your fourth toe, and your fifth toe. Relax the bottom of the left foot, the top of the foot, the ankle. Relax the shin and the calf. Relax the left knee and the quadricep, the hamstring, the inner thigh and the outer thigh. Relax the left hip. Feel that wave of soothing, healing energy wash over your left leg. A heavy sensation just melting into the floor, supported. Bring your awareness to your pelvic bowl, your entire pelvis, and relaxing the entire pelvic bowl, letting it be heavy, melting into the earth. Just feel a wave of soothing, relaxed energy wash over like waves through your whole pelvic bowl. Bring your awareness to your belly, your stomach, and just relax every part of your stomach, releasing fully, letting it be soft. Just feeling that wave of release, wash over your abdomen, and then to your low back. Just releasing the low back, bringing your awareness to your low back, letting a wave of lucid, relaxed, warm, healing sensation wash over your low back, just releasing and rinsing out. Bringing your awareness up to your whole rib cage, just allowing that beautiful, warm, healing energy wash through the rib cage, just surrendering, releasing, letting the diaphragm and the lungs be relaxed, and the kidneys. Beautiful. And just letting that wave continue to wash up and over the chest, just washing that energy, that healing energy over the chest, and releasing over the shoulders like a wave, a soothing wave, rolling down your right arm, just melting, releasing the right arm and the right fingers, the right hand, and then coming back up and letting that healing energy release and wash down the left arm, and then like a waterfall just cascading down your shoulders, just letting them melt into the mat, just total release, complete surrender. Just go deep and allow for that lucid state to take you into this melted bliss. In the throat, the esophagus releases energy, washing over, soothing energy, washing over the throat and the back of the neck. Just surrendering, releasing through the whole cranium, the head, the top of the head, and the eyebrows. The forehead is relaxed and releases, just that wave washes over the entire face, soothing the face, calming energies, releasing the jaw and the ears. Just taking a moment, feel the whole body melting into the ground, all tensions draining and releasing, being absorbed back into the earth. Just feeling this happiness floating sensation. Feeling of peace. The dissolving of the body outline. Floating. Now remembering gently that sankalpa, that seed of desire, that sacred desire burning in your heart. Recalling, maybe even visualizing what that looks like. And then feeling that seed energy just expanding in your body. It's just expanding that beauty of that seed intention. Visualize it, feel it just expanding and absorbing into your being, merging with every cell in your body. And knowing you're becoming that, you are arriving into that. becoming one with that desire. And as you move forward into sleep or into your day, embodying and carrying forward that sankalpa, knowing it's part of you, just spending a few moments marinating, infusing in that intention, knowing your desire is sacred and your soul's essence. It's your purpose for being here at this time. Just taking a moment, now coming back into the physical body, bringing your awareness back to the container of your body temple, and wiggling your fingers and your toes. You can gently stretch up and out with your legs and your hands above you. And then rolling onto one side, placing your ear on your bicep like a pillow to support you. And just take a moment here in this beautiful fetal position, feeling so nourished and so loved, with a purpose. And then pressing yourself up to seat, and then sealing your practice, bringing your hands together at your heart center in Anjali Mudra. Bringing your hands to your third eye center, just taking a breath, and bowing forward to seal your practice, placing your forehead on the earth, just making that contact with Bhumi Devi, and thanking yourself for being here, and all the wise teachers of yoga who have shared this practice with us, especially Shiva. Namaste.